We have a group. We were about 39 people that went on this trip, plus at least 3 that met us in Egypt. So we were quite a bit of a nice-sized group from many different churches. This was a diocese trip, but it's largely done and prepared and organized by our church. There's an unseen hero, just like the little kid, the little child who gave the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fishes in the hands of Christ. The brainchild, this whole trip is the brainchild originally of Uncle Ihab Girgis. He's the one that did most of the work, and so I want to give him credit first. And so what you see here and how this thing flourished into a wonderful service started with his hard work and his service, and a few other servants obviously joined. And so this is now a beautiful collective effort between the servants of the youth and the youth of the church. And I'm not going to take their thunder, so I'll let them talk. And then anybody has questions, you can ask at the end, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.
So starting off here, so this is the 2025 Egypt service trip. And so just to summarize real quick, some of the service focus areas we're going to talk about is Anaphora, Khatadba, and we also visited Alexandria and the Red Sea, and then ending it at Cairo.
Okay, so like Mina said, our first stop was Anaphora Retreat Center, a beautiful, secluded, private, simplistic place founded by Metropolitan Emba Thomas. We stayed there for around 3 days, and it was a great way to start off the trip with the Divine Liturgy with His Eminence Metropolitan Emba Thomas, as well as we got to sit down with him, have a little talk, and then kind of pick his brain after about a few things. And the word anaphora means to lift up, and we definitely experienced that there. We were all lifted up spiritually, we lifted each other up, and we also were lifted up in the service that we were doing there. Okay, so until the slides work, I'll keep going. Our first place we were serving at was Second Chance, which is within Anaphora, and it was our first taste of service at this trip. I want to pose a question to you guys that I hope you guys have never actually been seriously asked, which is, if you were given the chance between either pursuing an education or putting food on the table for your starving family, which would you choose? And unfortunately, for too many people in Egypt, this is the decision they have to make daily. And for a lot of boys in the Second Chance program, they made the decision to put food on the table for their family. And because of that, their education fell through the cracks. And so they are struggling in school, they're really behind, they're failing all their classes. And so this is when this program comes in, and it brings in the kids, and it helps lift them up as Anaphora goes with their education, and in turn, their family is being taken care of. So that's where we stepped into. We were responsible for teaching them about hygiene. So if you see in the top right corner, thanks to everyone's donations, we were able to pack drawstring bags with hygiene items and toiletries. Toothbrushes, loofahs, soap, whatever you can think of, right? And so when we got there, we sang songs, and then we spread up into classes, and each of us would demonstrate how to use these things. And it was really shocking for us that we had to teach 14-year-olds how to brush their teeth, because a lot of them have never been exposed to this, or they've only held a toothbrush once in their life, right? And something that bewildered all of us, and I know for the first time I heard it, I was in awe, was that we taught them, okay, you get the toothbrush and you put the toothpaste on it and you sing your ABCs, and we demonstrated, we made, a fool of ourselves. But then we told them, hey, when your toothpaste runs out, take the bar of soap, scrape your toothbrush on it, and use that. And that is wild for me to think. I would never think, use a bar of soap in my mouth. I would think, okay, it's better to not brush my teeth at all. I'm done, okay? But these kids, they don't know any better. It's a blessing for them on its own to even have a bar of soap. And so it was a really eye-opening experience for all of us. And I want to take your guys' attention to the left screen. This is where they're staying, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I guess we've been blessed and spoiled rotten, because I can't imagine spending one night there. And for these boys, there's about 40 boys in this one room. and it's Cairo, so it is hot, okay? They have no fans and AC. The bugs are going crazy, and they're all sharing these little cots. There's like no mattress, no pillows, blankets, anything. And this is the best of the best for them, okay? This is their 4 seasons, 5-star, all-inclusive hotel, okay? They have never experienced anything better than this, okay? And I was blessed enough to be able to go on the trip last year, and so I could see the progress of where they're staying. And last year, the roof was a tarp, and that tarp was collapsing in on them. The beds were a lot closer together, not nearly as much space, and way dirtier. And thank God through donations and support and prayers, this program has been blossoming, and we see the improvement. Now you can see that their roof is like wood, like shanks and planks, and there's a little bit more space, but they still need a lot of support. I just want you guys to, when you go back to your homes tonight, just remember this image and thank God how blessed we are.
So after Anaphora, we went to Khatadba where we served for 3 days. During those 3 days, we swam in the pool with them, we sang a lot of songs, we played field games with them, and we also taught them Sunday school lessons where we went over Bible study, behavior, and the church dogma. A lot of the kids came from very underprivileged villages near Ben Suef, where they went through a lot of hardships, and during their time at Khatadba they were allowed to be kids, where they were very happy and very joyful.
So even though many of us didn't speak Arabic, we were still able to form a connection with each of the kids, and the connections we formed were so strong. And it was really difficult to have to say goodbye to all these kids because we knew that they would have to go back to their hard life and their time at this camp was over. And I wanted to share this quick story from this girl. On the first day, I saw her in the pool, and I decided to ask her what her name was, and because of the language barrier, it was hard to communicate with her. So I did what I know how to do best, and I taught that girl how to swim, and she started bringing all of her friends with her, and I got to meet so many more girls. And then on the last day, we sent them all on the bus, and there was a lot of emotions. Everyone was really upset and tears, and I saw her looking through the window, and she put her arm out, and she just had the most painful look on her face. So yeah.
So up next is Rahma, and this took place at the Virgin Mary and St. Mark, the Apostle Church in Greens Plaza, Iskandariya. Hopefully the video is going to work, but I wanted to start off with this video because it gives you a glimpse of the personalities, the beautiful personalities that we dealt with, and it was very heartwarming. Hopefully this works, but. I don't know if the sound's gonna work, but if you take a look at the video, that was before she was gonna kick the ball. So and I was standing goalie, so that was pretty intimidating. But it gives you a little sneak peek of the souls and the blessings that we received when we were under Rahma. And so just to give a little bit of background, so this church serves the special needs children. And so they serve children from very simple cases to very extreme cases. And so what happened is, as a youth group, we arrived there and we were split into groups, and each group had a tour guide. And so our tour guide, I don't know if it's gonna clearly show on the screen here, but on the bottom right side, it's the person on the gray right in front of Abuna. When you met this man, he was just so joyful and just so happy. And he welcomed you with so much warmth. And so as he was taking us and giving us a tour of the whole guide, there was, every part of the church had a group, and it served certain kids. And so he was just going through every group, introducing us to the children. And so we got to one specific spot, and he brings this child, and he was so joyful, and the child could, the way he communicated was only through his eyes. He couldn't move, couldn't speak, and I mean, for us it was a big shock because we weren't really expecting to see that kind of stuff at this severity of level. And so when we saw that, you could obviously see the tour guide saw the emotions that we had. And so we were blessed enough to communicate with this beautiful child, and just asking him a question and having him respond with his eyes, and seeing the excitement he had, it overwhelmed you with so much joy. And so I noticed that the tour guide himself seemed a little bit more excited and was really joyful with this experience. And he saw how impacted we were. And so after we spent a few minutes with this child, we continue on with our tour, and then he looks at us and tells us, "I have a surprise for you." And he goes, "That was my son." And that hit me like a truck, because seeing him, you would never think that he's dealing with such a hardship. And obviously seeing, I know it's a blessing, but obviously a child having to see that it can be very hurtful for the parent. So seeing the joy and the blessings and the overall warmth that this man welcomed us with, and I'm sure that there's times that he's struggled with this, but it just showed us and taught us that some of the troubles we have back home, are they really troubles? Are they really big concerns? Or are they blessings? Because the man, he took this in the survey, he took this as a huge blessing. Anyway, so we continued to go around and took our tour. And so that was one of the impactful things at Rahma. In addition to this, I was privileged enough to meet Abuna Isaac. So he's the one that runs the whole show. And so he was showing us year to year what they've been doing. And so last year they were working on a project, and it's essentially a resort for these children. Since these children require a lot of attention, they don't have, one, the attention, and two, the facilities to be able to host children like this. And so he was showing us a facility that they were building that has a pool, has a playing area, and these are all accommodated for these children. And so one of the things that really stuck out to me is, for example, the pool. They have a machine where they can take the child from a ground level or wheelchair into the pool, so they can just have a simple experience of a pool. And so it really shows that the donations that we bring and the time that we are giving, it really makes an impact on these people, and it goes a long way. In addition, one of the things that really stuck out to me is when we were providing the donation to the priest in Rahma, he said something really beautiful. At first, he refused the money, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You guys, it's in need. You guys need this. It's helping the children. But what he said next was beautiful, and he says, "I won't take the money from your hands, but if you put the money on the altar, I'll take it, because I'll take it from the hands of Christ." And it really shows the power and the faith that that Father Isaac really goes with, and it was really touching to me and all the youth. And so I wanted to really share that, and I feel like Rahma really made a huge impact on the youth as a whole.
Another one of our service days was with the refugee Sudanese kids in Gazirat al-Warraq. We had about 100 kids come on a boat, and we greeted them with hugs and candy, and we had a full day filled with games and activities that we had set up with them. We started off the day with a skit and songs, and we ended it with a nice dinner that we shared with the kids. Throughout the whole day, we played with them, we sang with them, we danced with them, and we learned about their tough backgrounds with the war that was going on in Sudan, and how they are treated, having to flee there to Egypt. But even throughout all of their struggle, the kids were all so cheerful, and they all had joy painted on their faces throughout the whole day.
So after the service work, we had the greatest opportunity to meet the Pope. So once we met him, he gave us a quick talk, and then after that, we were able to ask him questions. This is my second time meeting him since I went to the trip last year, and this year I actually had the courage just to ask him a question, and my question just mainly revolved around if there will be more like Spanish context for the Coptic faith, since like I'm from a Mexican heritage, so it was very impactful for me to be able to come the second time and ask the Pope the question. And then after many of us asked our own questions, he then gave us a little pamphlet, and the pamphlet it had like the Orthodox Creed in many languages. And we also had the opportunity to sing him a song, "You Are the True Shepherd," in both like Arabic and in English. So we had the greatest pleasure to also have Magdalene. Her name is also Dula, where she plays the guitar very well. So we were able to just play the guitar and sing to the Pope. And also, Bonander was able to give the Pope like a gift to him. So it was overall a great pleasure to have met the Pope as a group.
So throughout the trip, we've been to a lot of churches and monasteries. So like the first one, we went to the Hanging Church in Old Cairo, and this is one of the earliest churches. And inside of it, there was many beautiful wooden icons and an ancient altar. Nearby the church is the Church of Saint Sergius and Baptist. This church is important because this is where the Holy Family stayed in the cave underneath during their time in Egypt, and it's still open for people to come in today. We also have St. Mary Church in Giotun because it is famous in the 1960s because thousands of people, like Christians and Muslims, when they were there, they saw apparitions of the Virgin Mary appear over the dome, and these appearances lasted over for years. St. Mary Church in Madi, that's just by the Nile River, and the Holy Family boarded aboard from this spot during their travels. And once upon, there was a Bible that once floated against the church's steps, and they opened the verse saying, "Blessed be Egypt, my people." And people saw this as a sign of God's presence. And lastly, we have St. George Church in Alexandria, and it's known for a very strong modern-day community, especially for its youth. And it's a great example of how the church stays active today.
Also, I just want to talk about the monastery of St. Damiana. We went there and we did veneration at the relics of St. Damiana in the 40 versions. Also, we got to meet His Grace Bishop Moros, and it was just an unreal experience. A beautiful monastery, and 100% would go again.
I also wanted to quickly add here, and so if you can count, there's in total churches and monastery 14, and so given we were there between 16 to 17 days, there was days where we were visiting multiple different monasteries and multiple churches, and one of the key things with this trip is to be able to have the youth experience visiting these historic places like the Hanging Church or some of the monasteries that most of us haven't really ever seen before. And so I feel like one of the beautiful things about this trip, you were able to not only get the blessings of churches and monasteries, but you also got to have conversations with monks. Most of the times the tours that were given was by monks. So we'd be getting a tour, but then also a spiritual lesson as well. And so I found it to be very beautiful. In addition to the venerations, if there's videos, a bunch of videos, and if you'd hear it, it's just one tone, all of us in unity, and it was beautiful. And I feel like it's one of the key highlights of this trip. I also wanted to kind of switch to, we received blessings from multiple different people, from sisters, abunas/fathers, and bishops. Obviously the list is extensive. There is a few honorable mentions here I'd like to mention here. So The first person is Sister Barbara, and so she ran the show at Khatadba. And when I tell you she is intimidating, she is intimidating. She does not play when it comes to service. And I feel like it provided the youth a sense of responsibility when it came to service, but you quickly saw the warmth and the love that she had for the kids and also for us. And so she made a big impact on the youth themselves. Additionally, we had the beautiful blessings of meeting Abuna Dawood Lamay. We had a great talk from him, and additionally we had the opportunity to ask him questions in which we asked and had beautiful answers. In addition to that, we met multiple bishops, but Bishop Marcos gave us the opportunity to sit with him. He gave us a beautiful talk. He sat with us a pretty extensive amount of time. And we were able to ask him all types of questions. He was very patient with us, took pictures with all of us. And so we received a lot of blessings from a lot of amazing people.
And lastly, we wanted to cover the fun activities that we did on the trip. So in the center you can see our group picture at the pyramids, and for me that was like one of the most exciting things because it was my first time in Egypt, so I was really excited to be able to experience one of the most exciting things there. And in the top left corner you can see we all got our cross tattoos, which was ending around 6 a.m. It started at 1 a.m. and then we went to the pyramids about 2 hours later, so it was a really exhausting day, but definitely created a lot of memories. The rest of the pictures on there are some from restaurants. We had a lot of really nice restaurants that we went to. We had a lot of really good food, and it was just a great time for fellowship and getting to know each other more and spending quality time together. And in the bottom right, there's 2 pictures of us at the Grand Egyptian Museum, which we also went to, and it was really cool to learn about our history and more about our culture and just where we came from. And in the center of this one, you can see a group picture, and that's at the top of St. Anthony's Monastery. So we all climbed up there, and let me just say, we do not recommend going at 12 p.m. in the middle of the day. The heat was awful. It was really hot, and all the priests were telling us, don't go, it's not safe, it's too hot out, but we decided to go anyways, and it was just a really great experience, and we had a lot of fun. And the top few pictures are pictures of us at our Nile cruise dinner, which was really nice. We just spent a lot of time together. It was at the end of the trip, so just gathering before we all left, which was really nice. And then just some more pictures of the camels when we went around the pyramids, and we had a beach day, which was also really fun. And the top right is a picture of us at Citadel Fortress, where they had a cool light show that we saw too.
So, to be honest, if we were to write everything we took away from this trip, all of the lessons we learned, it would be a thick book, probably a trilogy series or something. I think we all grew so much on this trip as people, spiritually. We got so close to each other and to Christ. So each of us would like to say our quick takeaway, and we'll go down the line starting at Stephen and then end all the way at Gia. The takeaway that I took the most was, as Mina was saying, we served many kids in Alexandria who had many disabilities, physical, mental, and a lot of the times both. There's this one boy, I wish I knew his name, and I just remember we were introduced to him, and he is sitting in a wheelchair, and this boy is not capable of moving not only his legs, but his arms. He can't even hold his neck up. He struggles to do that. He cannot really move his eyes that much, and which is the way he communicates, and it's very difficult for him. He cannot shake your hand when we introduce. He cannot speak, and I think the hardest thing is that he cannot smile, and he cannot laugh. Oh, okay. I was not expecting that one. And so just meeting him, you look at his body, and I don't know how else to word it, but it almost looks lifeless, right? But you look at his eyes, and it is so true what they say, that eyes are the windows into someone's soul, because this boy had fire in him. He might not fully understand who we are and what's happening around him, but he had this fire of the Holy Spirit or something. He had so much joy in his eyes, so much love, so much gentleness, meekness, anything you can think of. This boy embodied Christ, yet he never said a word, right? And I think, how many times do I, take for granted my body, whether that being I'm mean to my body, I wish I looked a certain way, which I don't, or I don't use it to its fullest extent. I'm lazy, I don't stand up to pray, I come to church late, all these kind of things, right? And then I just look at this boy and I see how Christ is moving within him, and I think, wow, what's wrong with me kind of thing, right? Because I feel more spiritually dead and lifeless than this little boy. And so my takeaway I want to take away from this trip is that no matter how tired I am, no matter how much my feet hurt, especially because I like to wear heels, right, at church, I will stand up to pray just because I can, because God gave me that privilege. I will sing praises to the Lord, not because my voice is the best, no, but because I have the capabilities to sing praises to the Lord. No matter how hard my day is, no matter how scared or stressed I am, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter who I'm around or my circumstances, I will smile because I have a reason to, because my God is so good to me and to everyone else around us, and I will share the light and the love of Jesus Christ through my smile because I am capable, because God gave me that gift to be able to do so. And so I want to, going forward, just remember that this body I have is not my own, it's Christ's, and that I will use it to its fullest extent going forward in my life to praise Him and to worship Him and to show how talented and creative our Creator is. Stephen, do you want to share your takeaway now?
So my biggest takeaway from the trip is that how much the kids will look up to you. So when you're just fooling around with your friends or kind of misbehaving in front of them, they're gonna do the same. So seeing that, sometimes that happens. So seeing that, it just helped me be super mindful of the way you act or behave in front of the kids, because watching from them, for their perspective, watching you, it's gonna be how they're gonna live their life in the future. So yeah, you say when you're in front of the kids, it's just best to be respectful, mature, and just listen.
My biggest takeaway from this trip is no matter what, no matter if I think no one's with me or I think I have nothing, I know God is with me always, and that's the most important thing. If I have God, that's all I need.
My biggest takeaway from the trip is that it's really important to put others before yourself. So when you're serving, you have to set aside your personal needs, forget about if you're tired or it's not really your kind of service. You just have to think about what these kids are going through and how it can't even compare to the problems that we experience. Our problems are essentially nothing compared to what they go through there. So it's really important to put others before yourself and just do the service and help them out as much as they need.
So my takeaway revolves around service. Seeing the passion and the hard work, the work ethic that these servants had in Egypt really stuck out to me, and it kind of got me thinking, how many hours do I spend scrolling, or how many hours do I spend wasting my time where I could be serving others? And it really taught me that service is not just checking a to-do list. Service it embodies love, it embodies care, it embodies humbleness. These are all things I took away from this trip, and I wanna apply it here. One thing that really stuck out to me is I heard this multiple times when I was serving in Egypt is service is essentially when the time comes and you're in front of God, and are you up there by yourself or are you up there with a line of people behind you? And that really stuck out to me and hit me. Am I by myself right now, or will I be able to have a line of people that I've been able to serve and help and get closer to God? And so my takeaway is to bring at least 10% of what I saw, if I can, because these people were truly amazing, and just bring it here to the States and be able to really serve and bring and touch the kids' hearts here as well, and just bring what I saw in Egypt and bring it to the States.
So my biggest takeaway would be seeing that God works in ways that you don't even imagine and you wouldn't even know. Going into the trip, I was absolutely terrified. Like I said, I don't know any Arabic, so I didn't think I was going to make a single connection with any of the kids. And right away, I started meeting all these kids, and they were just coming up to me, asking me about America, and I didn't want them to think that I'm higher than them, so I started asking them about themselves. And they just had so much love and joy, and by the couple hours in, they were saying, "I love you," and I'm like, "You don't even know who I am." So it was just a surreal moment, and I didn't think I would make any of those connections.
For me, it was to be more patient and have understanding, and I learned that from the kids at Katatba. I assumed that because I don't know Arabic, let me just stick to just setting up the dinner, let me just fill up their water, let's do side work. But then as I was doing side work, one of the servants came up to me, they're like, "Oh, there's this girl, she's fascinated by you because you're different." I'm like, "Oh, really?" And then after that, I just see this girl always following me, and I always assumed, or I always grabbed someone "Oh, she wants something," but then later on I found out that no, she just wants to be with me. And later on, the next few days, she will be looking for me in the lunch area, in the cafeteria. So she'll save a seat, I'll sit down, and at that time I had my binder with my Arabic words, so I'll just be reading to the girls the little Arabic that I know, the numbers, some small greetings, and they all loved it. Then the next event that we had was to go upstairs to do some worship, and all of the girls, they started fighting over me to sit next to them, and that's only because they just they had patience, and they really wanted to understand who I was, and that to me was so amazing for me to see. Wow, I needed to have them to teach me that, just for me to be more, graceful on how I serve and not have that stuck mentality of only serving in one specific way.
Okay, so my biggest takeaway was seeing how joyful these kids were when we in America have so much more than how they are living, and how they have very troubled backgrounds and hard living styles, and they were all so happy all the time that you could not ever tell. So my biggest takeaway was to be happy with nothing, for God is providing for us all the time.
After seeing all the kids at Second Chance and them not having the chance to go to school and really learn, and also the kids at Khatadba, they might not go to school that often. And also at the Sudanese day, one of the girls, I was talking to her, and she was telling me about how her family all moved here, and she wasn't able to get into school, and she loves school, and all of them, if you notice, if you ask them do they like school, they all love it and they love learning, but some of them don't get the chance to really experience learning like we do. And my takeaway from that is I should appreciate the fact that I'm in a good college, and I should not procrastinate and really do my job.
Okay, so I know we're all probably hungry and ready to go downstairs. I know I am. So we'll say a quick thank you. Thank you for all of the family support and encouragement. Thank you guys for supporting us and for allowing your sons and daughters to travel across the world to find Christ and to serve. Thank you for all the donations, whether that was bake sale, merchandise, whatever means it was. It truly went a long way in Egypt, so thank you so much for that. We thank you for the prayers, for the constant love you guys are sending us. We all really felt it there. And before I leave you guys with a verse that hit us all really hard, I want to say thank you to the two people who made this trip possible, Dr. Ihab and Abuna. You guys, thank you so much. Abuna, you are our shepherd and our father, and we all felt it there. You make us all feel so safe and comfortable, and we feel like we can joke around with you, but we look up to you so much, and we see how much you love Christ. I know that's cliche to say to Abuna, he loves Jesus, right? But, I mean, he truly embodies Christ and loves him so much, and he puts his 110% into the service. Strangers will meet him and come up to Abuna and ask them to pray for him because they can see this fire that he has in his eyes. So thank you so much, Abuna. Thank you for allowing this trip to happen a second time and for allowing us all to go on it. It was incredible. To Dr. Ihab, thank you so much. I can barely plan a weekend with my two parents, and I have no siblings, right? And you planned a 2.5 trip across the world for 40 people. So, wow, props to you. Thank you so much. And to his family, I know it must have been difficult to go through milestones and moving in without your dad, but we thank you for letting us borrow him. For a lot of us, this was our first time in Egypt, and Dr. Ihab, you made sure we had an amazing first impression, whether that be trying every fruit we've never seen before, or going to certain restaurants, or, you know, seeing the pyramids, whatever it was, you spoiled us rotten and made sure we were so comfortable and safe, and we thank you for your dedication to this service, and we are all so excited to see where this trip goes in the future, and we hope to continue to have your guys' support and blessings, and also to have even more people join us next year. And so before we leave, I want to say a verse that really gave us a posture of service and that we carried with us throughout this whole trip. And throughout every day, we would reflect and think, wow, we really are living this verse. This is the Bible coming to life. It's Mark 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. So thank you all so much for taking the time to sit with us, and we'll see you guys very soon, hopefully in Egypt 2026.
I think after you heard what you heard, we had a couple of objectives when we started out. We wanted to show the kids what it means to serve, and I call them kids because they're my kids, but some of them are a little too old to be called kids. But anyway, I wanted to show them how to serve, what it means to truly serve. I want to give them a perspective that they feel that they are blessed and that they have an obligation to share their blessings with other people, and also wanted them to to love Egypt, their motherland and the mother church. And I think we just checked all these boxes, mission accomplished. Thanks to your love or your generosity and your donations. Your donations go 100% to where they're supposed to go on these trips, and we can attest to that, and everything gets utilized in an amazing way over there. So until next year, and hopefully many years after that. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying. God bless you. And now the love of God the Father, the grace of his only begotten Son, our Lord God and Savior Jesus Christ, and the gift and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you. Go in peace. May the peace of the Lord be with you all.